The greedy hyena's downfall, how a tiny rabbit outsmarted the strongest animal in Africa. Long ago, across a vast and sun-drenched savannah, all the animals lived together, each with their own ways of surviving. The grasslands stretched endlessly, dotted with acacia trees, sparkling rivers, and rocky outcrops. In this land, there was a hyena known far and wide, not for courage nor for strength, but for his insatiable greed. He never had enough food. No matter what he ate, he always wanted more. The smaller animals whispered about him, the larger animals shook their heads, even the clever rabbit had learned to avoid him. Yet the hyena did not care. He prowled the plains daily, eyes gleaming, jaws ready, mind always scheming. One morning, the hyena woke to find the riverbanks bustling with life. The birds sang, the gazelles grazed, the rivers shimmered with fish just below the surface. His mouth watered. Today, he muttered, I will eat more than ever before, the plains will not deny me. He leapt into action, snatching fish from the shallow waters, chasing gazelles that bounded across the golden grass, scaring smaller creatures into hiding. But no matter how much he consumed, the hunger inside him grew stronger. Even as the sun rose high, casting long shadows over the land, the hyena's greed remained unquenched. By afternoon, the other animals had had enough. The elephant, wise and calm, called a meeting under the largest baobab tree. All creatures gathered, lions, gazelles, birds, rabbits, and even the smallest insects. The elephant addressed the crowd, his deep voice carrying through the plains. This hyena grows stronger in greed each day, he said. He eats more than he needs and threatens the balance of our home. Something must be done. The rabbit, small but observant, twitched his ears and whispered, Greed can be outwitted, but only with patience and cleverness. The animals nodded, agreeing that cunning must prevail where strength could not. Meanwhile, the hyena prowled the far reaches of the savannah, unaware that a plan was forming against him. He sniffed the wind, searching for the smell of prey, but also for opportunity. This time, he said to himself, licking his lips, I will find the greatest feast yet, the one that will satisfy me forever. He spotted a distant hill where the smell of honey, fruits, and freshly hunted animals reached him. His eyes gleamed, his mouth watered. He raced across the plains, leaving fear in his wake. Unbeknownst to him, the clever rabbit and other animals had already set subtle traps along the way, not to harm him, but to teach him a lesson about greed. The hyena reached the distant hill as the sun began to dip toward the horizon, casting golden shadows over the savannah. The smell of honey, ripe fruits, and freshly hunted animals made his stomach churn with anticipation. This is it, he muttered, licking his lips, my greatest feast yet. Today I will eat until I cannot move. He crept toward the hill, his sharp eyes scanning the surroundings, completely unaware of the rabbit hidden in the tall grass, observing his every move. The rabbit had spent the day laying subtle clues and minor traps, designed not to hurt the hyena but to distract him, slow him down, and make him overreach. The hyena lunged at a tree laden with golden fruits. He grabbed as many as he could with his powerful jaws, tossing some into his mouth and stacking others around him. Suddenly, the branch he stood beneath snapped. The hyena tumbled into a bush of thorns, growling and yelping as scratches marked his fur. The animals watching from a distance stifled their giggles. Patience, cleverness, timing, whispered the rabbit to himself. Now comes the lesson. The hyena, furious but undeterred, shook off the pain. He licked his wounds and muttered, no obstacle can stop me, I will have it all. The rabbit hopped quietly to a nearby rock, watching as the hyena continued his hunt. He whispered to the birds, who flitted silently above. Distract him, draw him away from the river. Lead him to the valley where the ground will teach him humility. The birds swooped down, pecking at the hyena's back, fluttering just beyond his reach. The hyena snapped and jumped, chasing them, biting at empty air. The birds cackled in the trees, the rabbit smiled faintly. Greed makes him careless, he whispered, and carelessness is the start of every downfall. The rabbit led the hyena toward a narrow valley filled with stones smoothed by centuries of wind and water. From a distance, the valley looked inviting, fruit trees and shiny pebbles glimmered under the sunset. The hyena, blinded by greed, ignored the subtle warnings. He stepped onto the first stone. It slipped beneath his paw. He tried to steady himself, but every step became more treacherous. "Why is this happening?" he growled, eyes narrowing. He did not notice the rabbit crouched on a nearby rock, watching quietly, ready to intervene if needed. The other animals peeked from behind rocks and trees, hearts pounding with both fear and hope. The hyena's temper flared as he continued through the valley. Every fruit he grabbed seemed to be just out of reach. Every fish in the river slipped away as he lunged. He growled and barked, flinging stones and snapping at empty air. "You think you can escape me?" he roared, though there was no one to hear him. The rabbit's voice echoed softly in the wind, barely audible. Greed blinds the strongest, but cleverness guides the smallest. The hyena paused, panting, scanning the valley. The frustration was consuming him. This was the turning point. The rabbit had set the stage for the ultimate lesson, where greed would clash with wit and only cleverness would win. The rabbit crouched silently atop a large rock, scanning the valley below. The hyena, frustrated and hungry, panted heavily. His eyes darted from tree to tree, river to river, fruit to fish. "Why can't I find what I want?" he growled, snapping at the air. The rabbit had anticipated every move. A shallow pit had been covered with leaves, carefully camouflaged, its edges lined with slippery mud. From a distance, it looked like a perfect place to leap for a juicy fruit, but in reality, it would teach the hyena the consequence of greed. The birds perched on nearby branches, waiting, knowing this moment was near. Even the elephants and deer watched from afar, holding their breath. The sun was low, casting long shadows over the savannah, heightening the suspense. Spotting a cluster of the ripest, juiciest fruits he had ever seen, the hyena lunged with a triumphant roar. His paws hit the leaves, covering the hidden pit. For a moment, it seemed as though nothing had happened, but suddenly the ground gave way beneath him. He tumbled into the pit, mud splashing around him, fruit scattered everywhere. "Ah!" the hyena howled, struggling to climb out. Every clawing motion made him slip deeper. From above, the rabbit watched quietly, heart racing. He had anticipated the hyena's every move. "Greed always falls into its own trap," the rabbit whispered softly. The animals gathered around the pit, some cautiously, some with relief. The elephant spoke slowly, his deep voice echoing across the clearing. "Let this be a lesson to all who seek more than they need. Greed brings downfall, and patience, cleverness, and respect for others bring wisdom." The hyena, now covered in mud, exhausted and humiliated, looked up at the rabbit. You tricked me," he spat, shaking his head. The rabbit's small chest rose and fell. "It is not trickery," he said calmly. "It is a lesson. Greed is dangerous. It blinds even the strongest, but cleverness and patience can protect the weak." The hyena growled softly, realizing he could do nothing but accept the lesson. The savannah grew quiet as the hyena sank into the pit, defeated but alive. The smaller animals crept closer, rejoicing in their newfound freedom from fear. The rabbit hopped down gracefully, dusting off his paws. The birds fluttered around, singing a gentle melody. Even the elephants and giraffes nodded in approval. For the first time, the plains were safe and the balance restored. The animals celebrated not with noise and chaos, but with quiet respect for cleverness and humility. The rabbit sat under a baobab tree, watching the sunset. "The world favors those who plan wisely, who act patiently, and who respect the limits of others," he thought to himself. "Greed may tempt the mighty, but wisdom guides the smallest." From that day forward, every animal in the savannah remembered the tale of the greedy hyena and the clever rabbit. Even the hyena, though still hungry at times, learned to think before acting, to pause before chasing, and to consider others before satisfying his desires. As night fell and the stars appeared above, the rabbit whispered one final lesson to the savannah. "Greed can take you far, but cleverness and patience take you further, and sometimes the smallest creatures hold the greatest power." If you enjoyed this story filled with wisdom, suspense, and timeless lessons, hit the like button, subscribe, and share.